Buongiorno, everyone. We're back. So with that discussion, we got a little off track. We needed to get a little intermission there and regather ourselves about why we are here today on the Now Over Never podcast. And it's about choosing now over never when those now or never moments come. So again, back with our anonymous Viper to share his story and the reason why he's sharing his story and all that. I'm going to give the microphone to Viper here.
So yeah, I think I did say it at one point. I don't really remember now, but I guess why I came here was to emphasize that always a now over no moment. I make that choice every day. No, I don't have the desire to do what some of those people have done, but like you said, I certainly have the background for it. And if I'm making the choice every day, they can too. Sure, it'll help to have open-minded people along and all the other things we got sidetracked on. But yeah, I guess it's more along the lines of I'm not special. It's if I'm doing it, there's absolutely no reason why they can't either.
I can stop it before you get in.
Okay.
Sorry.
But oh, is it not going?
No, we're going. I was going to get technical here really quick.
I don't know, maybe I'm saying that a little heavy-handed or strong-worded, but there are options out there, obviously. These people can make the choice. Well, what are the technical difficulties we're having here?
Yep, just a second. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So that's about how this is part of our solution. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I think I covered it, didn't I? I don't know. Do we want to go into more examples of where I've made that choice?
Yeah. So other people don't feel alone. They know that.
It doesn't just apply to childhood abuse. There was also, I don't know. He said it's a little bit too triggering, I guess. So I guess we can go mild with it and not go specific stories. Obviously, there's sexual abuse and that one kind of defies the modern narrative too, because those were all females to me. You don't hear about a lot of that. You typically hear about males committing it. So again, those outlier stories are the ones that are more likely to get ignored. So even if nobody cares about your story, you still have to make the choice to be better than it. I don't know.
Did you want to share some of your stories so that other people don't feel so alone, so that they can know that there's. So.
Well, which ones do we want to go into?
Just to.
Like I guess
this is going to be a solution for people to know that they're not alone.
I don't know how else to say it really, other than just tell more stories and.
About how you chose now.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of beating a dead horse. I don't know. I just wanted to share my story, or at least a portion of it, and hope that it gets out to whoever, wherever, somehow. And maybe they realize that they don't have to make that choice either. I don't have a magic wand or magic solution to any of the problems that lead up to that decision. I just making an hour decision to try. Because if we need all solutions, then why isn't this one as valid? let them know that they can make the choice too, and let them know that there are resources out there. Kind of letting other viewers know that may not necessarily relate to it know that they, without giving them a guilt trip, kind of be a little bit more open to where if someone has a horrifying story to tell you and kind of need to get it off their chest or whatever, to not jump to like a holy shit conclusion. If everybody can admit that these people need someone to talk to, then you have to kind of regulate your reactions. If they regret opening up, then they're far less likely to do it ever again. But again, that does come down to their choice. I don't know why it's any different for me, but there have been obviously some pretty low days. We didn't even get into witnessing a suicide. That was...
Witnessing suicide?
Yeah, once again, I'm going to have to try to kind of be vague. I was a place where there are boats. The other person was across the way on an entirely different boat that was very, very tall. And they jumped off and hit the little concrete barges that'll be around the boat for doing whatever repairs to the side or whatever the hell they do down there. I'm not entirely certain why those are there. So it was, I don't know, it was a distance enough away to where I wasn't like splashed per se, you know, but it was definitely clearly visible. I think it's more important to be real about the fact that there's no finish line to it, and that there's not supposed to be. The dark days, it gets dark every night, right? Every single day, sun goes down.
As long as I've been alive.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets dark during the day too with eclipses. Who knows? Because that's a real concept. There's no, I don't know. I don't want to get back into the prescription drugs, but like, there's no cure. I mean, okay, it's a little heavy-handed. I don't know. You still have to be able to function when the next darkness comes. It's a continually progressive act of rising above the darkness. It's not, I have risen from the dark above the darkness. I'm going to stay that way. Nope, you're going to have to keep on trying. At least that's how it is in my experience, anyway.
Yeah, from personal expect you to speak familiar.
Where other darknesses can we go?
Say again.
So what other darknesses can we go? We can want to elaborate on, you know, daddy issues like we've done, but sexual assault, got that. Suicide, my sis. We won't tell that one. A very close personal friend did it, like, not long after high school. He committed suicide. That was another dark time.
Pretty close.
Huh?
Pretty close to me.
Yeah. We were kind of a group of people. I don't know.
No, it's, and the,
I had a grand scheme in my head of where this was going, but I guess it kind of lost along the way. You know.
we can go right.
I just feel that it's important to know that it doesn't have an ending, because then you're more. It's more of a real thing to you. I don't know. Like, if you just get to this checkpoint and you're done, that's all you focus on. But whereas if you know that you have to keep on rising regardless, it's more of a realistic thing to know. I don't know.
No, and that actually makes sense, because what I've been approaching it like has been a checklist, almost like I said earlier, it was methodical.
Yeah.
How do I rise above and get to that finish line? But hearing it now as there is no finish line. This is a constant fucking thing. This is every decision is me choosing now or never is every decision I'm choosing now, every time. and then I mean now it's from all different angles too, from your stories of history, from father, family,
Mhm.
sexual assault, and then suicide. All around you is the shit that you're choosing constantly now over and over. Like I am gonna rise above this dark shit.
I mean, you have to. What other choices there? I mean, obviously there. Never mind.
There's a lot of other choices, and
There are.
that's why we're here.
You could be a drug addict. You could be homeless. You could be a mass shooter. But it's not like those are the ones you want to go for.
No.
I don't know, maybe I kind of botched up the delivery of that idea.
What idea?
I don't know, but it's you have to keep doing it. I guess I don't know.
No, it's.
Maybe
What's
it's not
about?
maybe it's not that way for everybody. I don't know.
I think that's when they. I think when they decide that it's not constant anymore, when they give up, is when they fall into these demons. But that's also why I'm trying to gain perspective on someone that had a different history. You know, I didn't have to choose as much positivity and happiness growing up as you had to. I didn't have to choose to rise above the dark, to keep bringing the title and to rise above the darkness. I didn't have to choose that every fucking day I woke up and multiple times during the day to have that decision thrown in front of me. Just didn't have that. And that's why I'm trying to gain your perspective of how the fuck did you just you know, I would have given up personally. Like I'm a strong person, but I feel like I would have given up after, you know, just all of this dark. You know, you almost feel like, and you said there's no finish line, but you're almost like, when do I get a fucking breath? You know, when do I get to breathe? So, and I think that's part of the solution. Since we're not able to find a solution or a catch-all, I think that's why I really appreciate this, by the way. Why I wanted to have this conversation is so that if anyone out there is listening and they feel like they might relate to any of this at all, that this is fucking an ongoing battle you really have to fight every day. And you're one of the smartest people I know and has a great grasp of how they handle themselves. And it's because you literally sit down and everything's a decision of choice, to go back to it. But I guess it's one of those things where you constantly decide you want to be great.
Whoa, I mean,
compared to that darkness, that's exactly what it would be, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess comparatively, that's just a very heavy-handed word.
You're also too humble, but yeah. So
I mean, no one's gonna give you a medal for the punches you don't pull. You can't go as far as to say great because you're not doing something bad. I don't see that. It's not good enough, I guess.
Right. Oh my gosh. I think, and then I keep forgetting there's one microphone, so I apologize to you guys. We're doing an outdoor shoot with Anonymous with one mic, so my apologies.
I made it extra complicated for him.
And I keep bringing that up. It made me lose my train of thought of what I was going to say there. But I think that's what we're trying to bring about here is a understanding, not an understanding, but just to show people. That's what it was. I put a post up yesterday about sobriety. I know a lot of friends right now going through trying to stay off alcohol, trying to stay off of ex-boyfriends, trying to stay off drugs. I'm just kidding. But they're trying to stay sober from something. And I put up a post just saying, hey guys, I hope you're staying sober. You can do this. And I didn't realize how many people are fighting this fucking battle, and how many people are having to choose every day not to drink, or every hour not to drink, or whatever, not to do, or do a drug, or whatever they're choosing not to do. So I wanted to really share how resilient you are and have you share your stories, just so they would know, like, look what this dude has been through. Like, you have been through every category of dark shit that you can pretty much have thrown at you and still come out alive. And I want them to know that to know that someone has gone through this, to share their stories, that they can get through this too by choosing
A different
path, by choosing to do better than what they grew up with, and to know that they're not alone, that this shit is, and I can't fathom how much this is happening, but to know that this isn't okay, but it is okay to choose better things, you know. And that's why I'm glad I had you come in, and that's why I wanted to talk.
Yeah, I think we got pretty heavily derailed there for a bit, but yeah. I just hope that somebody gets something from this.
Do you have anywhere else you want to take this? Anything else you want to talk about? What do you think? For those of you just joining, the recent events happening around the world, where a lot of us are having conversations here about what's happening in the world and with those around us. And my friend, my anonymous friend here, has had a couple people approach him saying, you know, we've noticed with your history that on paper you should, you know, on paper you kind of fit a mold, and we're kind of worried, you know. So we wanted to bring about why those characteristics might exist through his history, and how his now or never moment is literally every day, every fucking moment is choosing to be good, for that, take that choice to be a better person, to go against the grain, if you will.
It also kind of, to some degree, sounds like I have the desire to do those things, but at the same time, I don't.
Yeah, that's not what I meant to take it. But yeah,
No,
I didn't word that well.
I think we both kind of hit that point of making it sound that way, but
No, it would never. Yeah, that would never happen.
I guess for me, it wasn't about wanting to recreate those things as much as succumbing to the darkness of feeling like I deserved those things. Probably should have said that way at the beginning. This probably all sounded like I'm borderline crazy, but that's okay. I hate to say it, but that one did. We're going to go through it again? I might as well. I have vague memories of it, but I remember not being allowed to use my left hand because it has something to do with the devil. I don't know. Backwater Baptist shit. I couldn't tell you if I tried. I have vague memories of it. Very vague. So I had to learn to write with my right hand. I don't know. I don't remember where I was going with this now. I think it was something along the lines of always feeling like there was something wrong with me. And that's why I deserved the environment that I was in. And then still making the choice to not become the environment later in life, I guess, is a better spin to put on that. I don't know. It still sounds like I don't know. I think I fucked this all up.
No, do you feel like, because that spawns a great thing, do you feel like maybe, well, not maybe, but do you feel like when people with a history that get into these things, do you think that they've come to the outcome they've come to because they feel like they don't have a choice, that this is what they what they deserve?
Maybe. Or I don't know. Okay, that kind of makes them sound like a victim when they're shooting people, but
No, right.
I don't know how to bring it full circle on that one. Broken thought, I guess.
Yeah, because when you said you felt like you deserved it, that struck a chord with me, and I went, when I feel like I deserve something, I feel like I deserve that trophy for busting my butt for working. You know, I didn't feel like I deserved, and that might be a different of approach then, is that every time I think of something I deserved, it's a positive thing to me. Well, I guess that's even a whole different conversation, because how much positive did you really have in any of this? I mean, you're using the wrong hand to write with, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So what I deserved.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah. Yeah, I have no desire to physically harm another human being. I don't know if anybody was getting that drift, but
Yeah, this Viper is the last person on Earth that would harm another human, let alone harm anything for any reason. So that's why I wanted to have him on. But to say that you felt like you deserved something so cruel, you know, I wouldn't.
That was the mindset then, you know, in the early days before we realized that, you know, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. Maybe that choice alone is what is different. I don't know. I can't accept that there is something different. I don't know. I don't see that I'm doing something unique. I don't see that others in a similar horrible situation don't know that the option's there. You know, I don't. Sure, they may not feel like they can or should or would take a different path, but they have to know it's there. There might be a lot of extraneous situations that prevent you from doing it, but you have to know it's there. You have to know that the best solution is not going and fucking up a whole bunch of people. I don't know. I don't see that is a unique thing to. Oh, hey, there's a deer.
Oh, we've been joined on our live stream by some deer. We've been joined by some deer on our live stream here, guys. Hey, our first outdoor episode, we get a doe and her fawn in the back. I didn't mean to take away. Good spot.
I sent it away.
Yeah, you guys can see I'm right right there.
See, would the deer approach me if I was a bad guy?
Well, this is why I love this place. So we
Another sidetrack, but that's okay.
nature. All right, well, you can see them right here. We got some deer joining us on our podcast today. We'll go back to there. We'll put that on. No, but it's yeah.
I don't know where we were.
I'm sorry.
Not knowing that they have to know that there's a choice.
Yeah. They know that's a choice, but what's crazy is that you said that you didn't know you were doing anything special. You didn't feel like you were doing anything that was deserving of other people to know that they, because that's a huge inspiration to other people, whether you want to believe it or not. That,
I just don't
but
see,
to you,
I don't see how.
And what I see it as is this. I think you see it as just I was fucking surviving. I was making the best of what I had. Where everyone else is like, why the fuck are you still here? Like, how are you coming out of this dark? How have you risen from this darkness, or not risen? How are you constantly rising from this darkness all of the time? And I think that's the difference here. I'm gonna get rid of the deer because we gotta get back to the focus of the conversation here. But I think that's the thing is you don't see it as love for my dating people. I don't think you see it as anything special because you're like, I was existing, I was living, I was surviving. Where the people that are doing these things have just given up, and they need to keep that constant search for rising above darkness. So it's fucking inspirational, whether you want to admit that shit or not, man. You've been through fucking hell and high water.
I'm not saying that part isn't significant. Just I don't know. At a point, lost it. I don't know that this was necessarily inspirational.
Why not?
Because I'm just, it's kind of one of those, ugh.
Like,
This is gonna
something
get,
I don't deserve is to be an inspiration?
No. Well, we can cross that bridge later. But what I'm saying is, the only answer I can give is not very yielding. And it's gonna,
Let me rephrase this. Why is it not inspirational that you continue to rise out of this darkness and are showing your story to show others that they can choose to rise above the shit? Like, why do you see that you don't?
It's because
this is helping. I personally believe this is a huge help.
I mean, I guess
We got derailed before on solutions on how to stop shit like this, and I think making mental health resources available is a big key. Yes, that's one of the many solutions, but I think also talking about it with people experiencing it, so that I have never in my life would have guessed this is shit is out of a movie. I would have wrote this, if you wrote this down on paper and told me this is what I lived through, I would have been like, what IMDb did he get this shit off of? So the perspective alone of what you're sharing is highly valuable. I think this goes in line with mental health solutions because we're talking about it. We're getting perspective from someone going through it. Like, I think you're a giant fucking inspiration for having to fight this constant darkness all the time. And it's not even something you had a choice of, or you have a choice to fight it, but you were raised in what you thought was normal of this darkness. And I think now that you're older, you get to realize like maybe that wasn't as, so I think that's highly inspirational, and I highly value you as a person and the way you consistently make a decision every day to be good and better and the change that you wish to see. So I'm going to cut you off and say, if you don't see the inspiration in this or why you're inspirational, that's fucking wise.
I hadn't really given any kind of thought to that end of it, I guess. I don't know.
This is a mental health resource.
I mean, to some degree. I mean, I'm sure some people will find the context triggering, and it's kind of why I'm backing off of it a little bit, I guess. I don't see it as a unique choice because everyone has it. I mean, I don't know.
Everybody has the choice, but do you think everyone, I mean, how many people, we're all free, we all have freedoms, how many people really execute their freedoms and think they're free, So you say we all have this choice, but how many people are actively making the choices that you're
Not
doing?
enough.
Sorry, I didn't
I'm sorry, not enough. I don't really have an active online presence. I don't have what do they call it? Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and all of that.
You don't have any of
Well, I have a Facebook, but I more or less shut it down several years ago. I mean, it's still there. I don't really use it just because I don't know. I just see a lot of people not making the choice. I guess maybe that seems a little judgmental, but some of the things that are on there is just why? I don't know. Maybe I'm too old and don't get it, but
It's another choice.
it is. It is. I guess maybe I don't respect the choice. Is why I don't dabble online. Because if I went through all that, I have to actively. I don't know.
I'll do all that just to waste my time on Facebook. But
Yeah. Like, why is that worth it? And frequently you'll see people admit that it's a brain suck or a time suck or it's addiction or whatever. Like, why the fuck are you doing it? It's pretty rare that you see anything of substance. Obviously, you're trying to do something. There are things out there, but like, if you're going to look at it as a pie chart, you're like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know.
That's,
Maybe fighting for life puts a very different perspective on things.
and it's funny you say that because it reminded me. I grew up playing hockey in Dayton, Ohio, with a buddy. I'm not going to name him by name. Him and his sister were found. I guess his mom and dad left, and they're like, "Hey, we'll be back," and just never came back, and left him and his two sisters alone in this house. And they lived off ranch dressing for 2 weeks before they thought about going to get a neighbor. They were like 5 and 6. They were very young. And they were, "Oh, mom and dad's going to be back." They lived off of ranch dressing. You will not find any one of those 3 people on social media, not doing anything that's not living life to the fullest, because now they made this choice and that's what they went through. They've been rising from this darkness their whole lives, and they're going to live their fucking life the way they want to. So they're now over never every fucking day is, I'm going to choose to do something awesome. Because we're not guaranteed tomorrow, obviously, but the fact that we're not guaranteed tomorrow, I shouldn't even fucking have had yesterday.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's a good way to. Yeah.
You don't have tomorrow. I shouldn't have been here yesterday. Like, I want to go do something with my time. Like, that's a choice.
Now, obviously, I'm not going to tropical islands and shit like that, but I can't justify staring at a screen that much and getting nothing back for it. I mean, yeah, obviously you can see your distant relatives, their families and whatnot. I get that. But once again, we're talking about a pie chart, and you just add one little sliver to the tiny slice. I'm like, okay. What else? What else you got out there? Entertainment. Okay. You added another little slice. Because a lot of that shit I wouldn't even necessarily qualify as entertainment. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I guess it all comes back to perspective, which is one thing that I've learned here on hosting the show is it's all about perspective. Everybody's upbringing definitely plays a huge fucking role, obviously.
Sure.
What they classify as normal behavior, upbringing, stuff like that, social norms. But it comes down to just, in your case, fucking surviving. That is your choice every single day. Pardon me. Your choice is to do better and to do bigger.
Try to, at least. Obviously, not every single day is going to be a success, but hey, that's the rising of it and not risen or whatever past tense you want to go with for that.
I swore off I wasn't going to read you any more comments because I didn't want it to not only derail us, but I also didn't want it to impede your thought on things because we've been allowing that to happen. But there's some of the comments are, how do you not feel like, I wanted to ask, how did he not feel like he's inspirational? He's super inspirational. And that's, whether you want to admit it or not, I know you're too humble, but like it comes into perspective. Again, we see it as something big, but you just see it as, I'm just making a decision to consciously exist the best route I fucking have in front of me. And if you want to see that as something to look up to, it's like religion. Whether you believe religion or not, if it makes you a better person, fine. Go to church.
Okay.
I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, if you guys want to see it that way, that's cool. Okay. I don't really know what to tell you.
Right. I just I wonder. It was important to me with everyone trying to figure out how to rise above the darkness of the Dayton shooting, El Paso, and then what happened last night. Was it Odessa? I believe another Texas. Our sisters in Texas again. Our brothers and sisters in Texas. Everyone's just trying to ask, how do we rise above the darkness of this? And it's like, well,
Choose to.
To summarize. Sorry, you didn't have the mic.
Oh, choose to.
Choose to.
It's not going to be an easy one. Obviously, it's going to take time. Obviously, there's a lot of steps in that process. But you have to want to. You have to want to.
It's that personal choice.
Yeah. I mean, it does make it sound more simplified and not complex, but it's about the best wording I can give for you is that you have to want to.
And then what I'm gaining from now having spoke with you about this is that, so we had the shooting.
Definitely happened.
There was a stabbing. There was another gun shooting. There's every single day, there is this darkness. Yes, this darkness is so much fucking bigger. It's on a colossal scale. And I believe all of us keep referencing Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
He always quoted his mom. My mom used to say, whenever you see something happen, look for the helpers, look for the help. You always see people running out and helping. And would you see one guy shoot down a bunch of people, but you saw a ton of people come out and help. And then you saw, I was at the Gem City Shine event, the Dave Chappelle benefit, raised $70,000. Mayor Nan Whaley was no taxpayer money used. It was all benefit. Look at all that help. Look at all that grew. So what I'm getting at is this. The rising above darkness. Yes, we just had a monumental darkness. But there's darkness every fucking day that we are deciding. And what I'm getting from you and what I'm learning from you in this podcast is that we have to actively know who we are and what we want. Our path of, I'm going to be a great moral fucking person. And you have to actively every day and every decision, not even every day, every decision, choose to be that bigger and better person to go towards your path. Because even with this bigger darkness, we still have a lot of other ones we have to overcome. But it's a personal decision based on who you are, who you want to be, and how you can help your fellow man, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times that I've been willing to be an open ear. A lot of times it was just for idle gossip, which I lamented. But I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Hang on. Let me find the wording for this one.
No, take your time, please.
It's going to sound like a very abstract thought, I think. Sometimes it's not about announcing that you're willing to talk to people with whatever issues. It's being quiet enough to hear them if they do start talking. Because there have been plenty of times where I've just been sitting like a bump on a log and some random person will just start talking. And a lot of people would approach that as, what the fuck is wrong with this psychopath? You know, like,
I get it every day.
yeah. But if you just actively listen, sometimes they'll just give you their whole life story. I don't know if you could tell from the lack of dialogue, but I tend to not talk very much.
You don't say.
Yeah. So I don't know. It does kind of sound like a bit of a judgmental piece of advice, but listen more. Sometimes it's not just about announcing, whether it's to a person who was a victim of said event or whatever. An alcoholic in recovery, so be it. Sometimes the open ear by itself can be enough without much else. Not that that's going to be the only solution, obviously.
No, but that's extremely powerful. I have this thing when people give me my money back when I go pay for stuff. If I go to the gas station, I'm like, hey, and they're counting my change. Every time they count my change, I'm like, you know, how's your day been? And we've all been there at the Walmart cashier, Kroger cashier, and like, hey, how are you? And you get, oh, this just happened. You're just like,
Oh, yeah.
whoa. And most people are like, dude, I just wanted you to tell me you were fine. But we need to be more present to these signs and these characteristics.
Realistically, that's what anybody wants for them in return, right?
What, to be heard?
Yeah.
Be heard and understood, but sometimes just being heard.
I think where social media gets that idea fucked up is that people are always trying to be heard, and you gotta listen too. I mean, it's definitely a give and take kind of path on that one.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason why we feel like this is cheesy and cliche information, because first of all, it is, which also means it's common knowledge and something that we're actively disregarding by approaching it as that, you know, cheesy or cliche or, oh, who cares about that, or, you know, whatever. Like, you're looking at part of the solution right in the face and actively dismissing it as calling it cheesy and cliche and whatever else you want to go with.
I usually hear hippie bullshit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
one.
I'm sure if you talk to the bros, I'm sure they'll have a whole number of adjectives for you.
And I think, and that's part of it too, is it gets thrown under the cliche. It gets thrown under these prejudice definitions of what it is. Basically, just, oh, you're this, you're that, and it's like, okay, well, if we go back to what you said, focusing on your path and making a conscious daily decision, though, you know, if you know that you want to be a good moral-based person, you know you're doing things for the right reasons, who cares? I'm doing the right thing. I'm making the right decision. If I hear someone talking, I make myself, you know, you're making a conscious decision to be the change and that solution that you're looking for.
I don't know, maybe I kind of like looking at it as I'm not making a inspirational decision, because if everybody did it, there would be nothing special about it. And that's kind of how it should be. I don't know, maybe that's a utopian kind of concept, but I don't think that it is. I don't know why these people need to go do mass shootings. I don't know why people need to do half the things that they do, but I don't know, maybe that's part of the mystery of it all, right?
That's certainly what brought us here today.
Certainly is.
I'm gonna take a quick minute to see if we have any questions from the gallery.
Oh, are we opening Q&A now?
I wasn't sure. I was gonna take a
Yeah,
look, but
we
I
can do
wasn't
that.
sure where we wanted to go. I feel like we're getting close to supper time. It's 5 o'clock.
Okay. I feel like we've hammered the points home.
Basically, we've hammered a lot of the points home here, but I did want to give people a chance if they had any questions. Everyone's fighting a battle. Some are just more socially accepted than others. I think it's extremely brave. You choose differently and are speaking about it. Thank you. With praise hands. Like I said, I know that to you, you're just doing the right thing. You're existing.
It's cool. It's cool.
The view that being left-handed was from the devil was pretty common when I grew up in the Catholic Church in the 60s. Is there some parallels with your guests? You don't have to answer.
Yeah, mine was, like I said, religiously influenced from some backwater Baptist Appalachian bullshit. I couldn't really tell you where it originated from. I just have very vague memories of it being a very bad thing to write with my left hand.
Right, and then basically everyone, not a lot of questions, but a lot of people just saying and agreeing with you that you have to consistently choose to be the change every day. If you want to rise above any type of darkness of any kind, that you got to take your method. You literally have to actively seek to do this every single day. So, I don't know, man. I want to give you the platform here to take this wherever you want. I didn't want to guide you down a path, but I did want to make sure we approach this.
I guess thank you for the positive comments. Were there any questions at all? Or was it all just more along the lines of that?
Well, if you guys have any questions, the ones that are live now, shoot those our way. It's mostly just kind of people agreeing.
Okay.
Can't imagine how that brain would be for those who have to live with it. And maybe this is a minority, but some people don't have the basic capacity to make, sorry, I just hit Seymour. Make choices. The decision tree simply doesn't exist in our minds. Not sure how data show them for instances of violence and perhaps diminished. Yeah, I'll show you these afterwards. You can read them.
Okay.
If you guys have any questions, shoot those over now. It's bottom line. Here's too long. Didn't read. Didn't watch. Here's what happened. Darkness is everywhere. We have to consistently choose to go on the path of who we want to be. And my anonymous guest Viper has made the conscious decision that he wants to be a fantastic person that's not drugged down by any of this shit. So every single decision he makes is a now or never moment where he has to actively choose now. For my friends going through sobriety, mental health and illness, people going through just decisions or having a history where you have just different ways of thinking. It's a constant choosing of being positive and going towards what you personally believe you want to be and who you want to be inside. That was the too long version. So.
I mean, that was abbreviated. What are we going on? 2 hours now, I guess.
We're going on 2 hours.
Yeah,
so
that is a good abbreviation.
So I'm going to wrap this up.
Okay.
Do you have any? I do have our conclusion that I'll get to, but while you have the platform in front of you, and I don't want to handcuff anything, is there anything that you wanted to talk about, anything we didn't get to or cover, or anything that you want to share with everyone about anything? I don't even want to guide you there. Just anything that you have.
I don't know. I think
You did a pretty damn good job.
yeah, we covered a lot of shit. No, I guess that's all I got for you. Just yeah, keep trying.
All right. Oops. So one thing I ask everybody, we all have these moments where we choose now or never, and man, it's so difficult.
Wait, I did think of something.
All right.
Sorry.
Going back.
Sorry.
Cool.
The only thing I would say to do with this would be, hopefully I'm using the right vernacular, is to like share it a lot. With the link, I don't know.
Oh, the podcast?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's where just in case it hits that just right person. Obviously, I don't have anything to sell for you, and there's no financial cost in this, right? No? Okay. Just want to make sure. I don't know.
You're not getting paid.
No. I'm saying, like, in order to, like, create this business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, sharing it should not be overly difficult.
Correct.
Okay. Bada bing.
So, guys, but again, the whole reason this podcast came about is with the shootings and everything. We see these signs and we see people with a history. And on paper, my friend, on paper, if you would see his history, I would look at him and be like, man, are you gonna is something not wrong? Are you gonna do something? So right now we're all trying to figure out how we recognize these signs, what we can do for solutions. And this was, there is no, what we came to the conclusion of on the first part of this, there is no solution to everything, but we do need to talk about it. We need to be present and be there for people that are obviously looking for an ear. If they say something, at the market or whatever, you hear them say it and you just go, okay, just lean in a little bit more, and they might just give you their life story, and just, you never know who you're going to meet and how you can help each other is the bottom line there. So consistently, day after day, choose now over never. And your inspiration just being survival. Do you have any books that have influenced you, or books that you would recommend my listeners take into consideration that have helped guide you to be the person that you are? Do you have any type of, or podcasts or any type of places that have brought you some knowledge? Or is everything just going out and fucking finding it wherever you can?
It's largely self-taught. I mean, it's probably not the best advice for everybody. I don't think so. But I guess within the past few years, I've been seeing a therapist. So, I mean, that's a good route to go for people, I would suppose. In terms of books, I don't know. I've read stuff. I just, somewhere along the lines, I end up disagreeing with them. And I'm like, okay. I don't know. I don't know how to help you all in that regard.
No, that's fine. It sounds a lot of what you did is encourages people to do self-discovery. Maybe not just have one channel, but to go find whatever answers you need to whatever problem you're faced with whenever you're faced with it.
Yeah, if you do find an author, you don't have to completely digest their entire collective works. You can get what you need from it and move on to the next subject. Eventually, no matter what, you're going to, hopefully, if you're approaching the subject analytically to any degree, find something that you disagree with. Because every writing has some form of bias somewhere. Right? I don't remember where I heard it, but there's a phrase along the lines of Jesus didn't smile, Socrates didn't cry, something like that. Just, well, if you look, I guess, at the whole Bible, Jesus doesn't smile. It's like, if he hides his mirth, what's that all about? Isn't your path to happiness, and yet you're not really happy? Just, I don't know. And then Socrates, I guess, was notorious for pushing people away that were actively crying, get them out of the room. I correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, listeners, whatever. This is just something I heard in passing.
Okay. Well, not that they would give a first-hand account.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Just keep looking.
Just keep seeking answers.
If it's only 10 pages from this, or 10 minutes from that podcast, or whatever, just collect them.
Everybody, I want to thank you guys all for joining me today. It was a I don't have words for it. It was eye-opening, man. I really appreciate you sharing how you consistently rise above the darkness. I commend you. I think you're an inspiration, whether you want to believe it or not. I just can't fathom. I think of all the obstacles and darkness I've had to go through in my life, and I can't even try to understand. So I think this is very powerful to have someone on here of your caliber, of where you're at in life. I highly respect you. I think you have a great head on your shoulders when you approach any decision, and for you also to have this history behind you on paper, it's just unbelievable. So it is honestly existing proof that is a conscious effort for us to always make the decision on a path to be the person we want to be and to do what we want to do because we want to survive that way or exist that way. So I
hope that's the message we got across.
He said, I hope that's the message we got across, and that's what I hope too. So again, being from Dayton, much love to the city of Dayton. our brothers and sisters in El Paso, and then last night our much love again to Texas, out in Odessa. We need to start trying any solutions we can. We need to just not one at a time, as it was discussed here. We need to start making more mental health resources available. Guys, anyone listening to this right now, I am a resource. If you just need someone to talk to, message me. I don't care if I know you. I don't give a shit about anything about that. If you just need someone to talk to, I will be available however I can be. But with that said, you should really seek professional therapy or help, professional advice, people that are trained to handle this. I highly recommend having more discussions with friends. Thank you. Having more discussions with friends about things that are bothering you, maybe traumas you've been through that you can't shake. I can't tell you how many of my friends have gotten me through some insane moments, but I've also personally, I went to therapy when I was in 8th grade for some things, so I can tell you that it really does help with perspective. I don't know if I ever shared that with you either, but I went through a therapist for 2 years in middle school. Don't share that with anybody, but since you were so transparent, I thought I would share that. Well, you're anonymous. But we need to start putting faces to things and start making resources available. So I am a face of someone that's been through a therapist, and I know a lot of people that are going to them and it's helping them. So at the bare minimum, please talk to somebody. At the best, please, there's insurance programs that help get you help with therapists. There's a lot of other things available. But bottom line is we can't stop discussing. We got to start being there for one another. Be more present. Put the fucking phone down. Look each other in the eyes when you're talking to them and actually be there for them and hear what they're saying. As just earlier today, we heard, we can do this. We can do this together. We just have to be there for each other. So everybody, it is a pleasure to do this. It's very easy to be nice. Don't be an asshole.